This is the 2024 GMC Yukon Denali. Is it the ultimate full-size SUV? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today I borrowed this model from my friends at Mike Morgan Buick GMC in Shreveport, Louisiana. As is always the case, I will leave a link down in the description of the video in case you want to know more. So let's take a look at what you get if this is the trim level you want. Your lighting is going to be LED everywhere you look. And you notice that flickering effect, that's not really happening. That has to do with my camera, just one of those things you deal with. But LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, and LED fog lights down here on the lower portion of the bumper. And we'll have a nice silver finish here with the grille. It just gives it a nice, I'd say, elegant look. You will have a forward-facing camera. The one thing that is missing, at least up through 2024, is the front camera washer, something you can get on the Sierra 1500s and the HD 2500 and 3500 as well. This particular model is two-wheel drive, which means it's going to be rear-wheel drive as opposed to four-wheel drive, which is optional. Let's talk about our tire and wheel size. For those who are curious, we're looking at 275 on the width, a 50 series sidewall wrapped around the 22-inch wheels. If you look under the rear of the vehicle, you will find a spare tire. And what about your remote? A fairly simplistic remote to figure out. I really don't need to tell you what all is here, but you have lock, unlock, remote start. There's your panic button, and you can open and close your tailgate. And the bottom button right there is for opening the rear glass if you need to do that. How about your side view mirrors? Well, they're power adjustable, they're heated, they're power folding, they have the turn signal indicator built in, and they also have your blind spot information system right there. Something I like here with this particular model is the fact that you have passive entry not only here on the front door, but on the rear as well. And if you're wondering, what is passive entry? When you have the remote with you, you can walk up and lock or unlock the interior with either button. And for you parents, that's great because you can come right back here, unlock all four doors, easy to deal with. And you also will find, let me unlock that, the power assist steps. And there is a way to make those stay deployed. As you see right now, they're going to go back under the vehicle, but you can have those stay deployed out from under the vehicle in case you're washing it. Or you can even use that as a deterrent to door dings, because when that's out, unless you have a vehicle that's high enough, when they're low enough to the ground, they're going to hit the step before they actually hit your vehicle. That's a nice thing to have, at least in the front. And we'll find LED taillights finishing things off here. A very clean look with your rear window. Why? Because you do not have an exposed rear window wiper. It doesn't mean there's not one here. It's just concealed away inside of the rear roof spoiler. And quad tip exhaust, always a nice feature. I just like the way that looks. If you're going to have that many, why not just go ahead and have them on both sides? I don't think it would be quite appropriate to have them all in the center because this isn't exactly what I would call a high-performance SUV. And I say this is not a high-performance SUV, but that doesn't mean it's suffering for power under the hood. This is the 6.2-liter naturally aspirated V8 that makes 420 horsepower and 460 pounds-feet of torque. It's mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. And let's go over here and take a look at the window sticker. Got a couple of important things to tell you about. Number one, let's talk about gas mileage. What do we have? 14 city, 19 highway, 16 combined, and 6.2 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. Imagine that with a 6.2-liter under the hood. And we'll walk around to the driver's side. This is where you're going to find your gas tank and the gas door right here. It is capless fuel fill, but don't worry, that's not going to be easy for people to get to and put foreign substances in there necessarily. But one thing I wanted to tell you about, number one, it's a 28-gallon gas tank. And number two, some people are under the impression that they have to run premium gas in this Yukon with that engine under the hood. To get best results, yes, you will want to run premium gas. However, you don't have to. You can run regular 87 octane. It isn't going to hurt anything. Plus, when you buy this model at the dealership, that's what they're putting in anyway, is regular. And how about your towing capacity? 7,300 to 7,600 pounds is what you're looking at. Now, there are a couple of different ways to open your power tailgate right here. One of those is on the remote. As I showed you earlier, there's a button right here. There's also a button on the interior, and that is important based on what I'm about to show you. You can also use the motion sensor that's located here underneath the bumper. But what happens if you do what I just did, maybe do it a couple of times, and nothing happens? This is the very first thing you need to do. 99.9% chance this is what you need to look at. You don't need to rush off to the dealership or call your salesman or anything like that. It's this control right here. And you'll notice that it says max, 3/4, and off. I intentionally set it to off just to show you this because it's something that I know people deal with. This will save you a lot of trouble. Now, something else that happens a lot of the time is people will kick their foot under here, and you'll notice that it doesn't happen immediately. Those rear taillights will start flashing, and that way you know that everything is in motion and this rear tailgate is going to open. And we're looking at 40.5 up to 144.7 cubic feet of cargo capacity. You do have quite a bit back here behind the third row of seats without making any changes. There's also space underneath the floor right here. You'll also find that you have your tools to change your tire located back here, and there is a nice power outlet right there to help out if you need to power, well, whatever it is. And to maximize cargo capacity, the back set here, this rear set of buttons controls the third row. This set controls the middle row, but there is a difference between the two. With these rear seats, you just hold the buttons down. And with the middle row seats, well, you hold the button down and let go of it, everything goes down. However, the difference is that with that second row up there, the middle row, you're going to have to go and manually raise those back up. You don't have to do that with the rear seats, but there is a trick here that you need to know about. Watch this. I'm going to begin bringing these back up. I say I am. Come on, cooperate with me. There we go. Now notice I let go of the buttons and they stopped. So you will actually have to hold those buttons down until the seats are in their full upright position. And remember this button on the remote? Well, I'm going to push that twice and the glass pops open. So if you need to reach inside or maybe put something inside from this position, you don't need to open the door all the way, well, there's an option to do that. You don't really see that on a lot of SUVs anymore, no matter what class they fit into. And let's talk about what your second and third row passengers will find. Besides ample room, there's a lot more to talk about here. Comfortable armrest, plenty of space there. That's always a good thing. The upper and the lower door bins. And if you look at where the seats are right now, well, I've moved them up as far as they will go. That way you see what we have. And you'll use this front lever to do that. This lever that has ×2 on it is what gets the seat out of the way. Now, kind of hard to do this one-handed, but there we go. So that seat is all the way back. Now, here's how easy it is to get these seats up and out of the way. It pretty much does it itself. It takes a little bit of time sometimes, but you can see how easy that is to make gaining access very simple here into this third row of seats. And no matter where these seats are set, normally they'd be about right here, so I would be a little bit more tight. But even with the seat all the way back, there's still plenty of leg space. And I don't think that it's very realistic for anyone to have these seats as far forward as they are now, but you never know. So that's the situation. We'll also find a cup holder right there, as well as a little bit of storage behind that, and then the USB option. And we're gonna find the same thing on both sides, on the right and left sides of the vehicle. Also, air conditioning vents, roof mounted, which I think is much better than having them mounted maybe down here somewhere. Some manufacturers do that on different SUVs. I like that because of the fact that the air doesn't have to travel as far to reach the passengers. That's always good, so the air temperature isn't going to change a lot before it gets to them. And one last thing that is really important here in this third row is the fact that this release can be used, or this button, to get out of the back seat. That makes life a lot easier. I'm going to push that button one more time and the seat is up and out of the way. It makes it easy to exit right out. And there is the panoramic sunroof. The front portion will tilt and slide open, and this is the power shade they can be drawn forward if there's too much light coming into the interior, which is exactly why I'm about to close it, because otherwise everything here is going to be washed out. And here are the rear seat pockets. We're going to see what your middle row passengers will find. A seat pocket on the back of both seats, cup holders, and the controls right here for the third zone of climate control. What we don't need is 86 degrees because it's actually going to be warmer than that today here in Northwest Louisiana. I am not happy about that. Hopefully that doesn't mean a nightmare hot summer. We also don't need to turn on the heated seats. But just so you can see what's there, well, that's what it is. USB ports and a power outlet will be located right here. Now, one thing that's interesting here is the fact that you do have the fold-down armrest. However, there's only one position for that. They do seem to be a little bit on the low side. When I put my arm on there, it would be nice to have some kind of an adjustment built into the side, maybe where they could raise or lower a little bit so that your passengers could have a little bit better option for comfort where that's concerned. Just depends on a person's height, maybe no big deal for some people, but that's what's here in case you were wondering. One thing I did want to show you based on what I told you earlier, when you lock the vehicle, you're going to notice that those power folding side view mirrors do fold in. There's also a button on the driver's side door that allows that to happen as well. That's going to be located right here. So all you're going to do is push that button and then the mirrors will fold in once again. Just something to know about. There are your typical controls that you would expect to find on the driver's side door panel, including your two settings for seat memory. Power adjustable seats for the driver and the passenger. Driving modes right here. You'll control the exterior lighting on the vehicle. If you're looking for your power parking brake, there that is. And you can see some of the other features we have here as far as traction control and all of that. Lane keeping assist, all managed here. A few other things. You can turn the auto stop start feature on and off and control a lot with your head-up display right here. You have a power adjustable steering wheel, so it is tilt and telescopically adjustable, and when you get in, you're going to see the animated graphics that come up on both screens. Just so you can see what's here, makes things, well, a little nicer. Just something nice that's added by GMC. It's here, I might as well show it to you because it is part of deciding whether or not this is the ultimate full-size SUV. Now, I don't know how well you can see it. Let's see if we can adjust the lighting a little bit maybe. There is a nice bright head-up display right there. It's just so difficult to see because, well, I basically am in an area where it's very bright outside. Just one of those things you deal with, but that's just the way it goes. It is there, in case you're wondering. And speaking of things you can see, well, your instrument cluster works out very nicely. Now, if you look at that and say to yourself, I just don't like what I see on the instrument cluster, you can make adjustments. You can change the display layout. You can go to progressive. We'll do a couple of these real fast just to show you. You can go to digital if you wanted to, and then of course you have clean right there. I'm not going to show every single one, but just to show you what's there, we're going to go back to classic, just so that's the way it's set. And then you can also individually configure things. So you have the left side, the right side, your lower gauges, info page. You can see everything that's there. And if you get to a point where you say to yourself, I'm just not happy with what I've done, you can go right there to reset to defaults. That's very easy. All I did was arrow over with that to get to that option. And you can see how easy that is to do. Here are your steering wheel mounted controls. You have your adaptive cruise control right there. And you can see what all is over here as well. On the steering wheel, we're going to find the turn signal lever that lets you use the blinkers on the exterior of the vehicle. That way you let people around you know what you're doing. That's always helpful. And you control your front and rear window wipers right there. Now you do have the push button shifter here. Some people like it, some people don't. Do you like that? Would you rather have a column shifter or maybe a shifter down here like the trucks have, the 1500s at least have? And as we go to the infotainment screen, you're going to have wireless capabilities for connecting your phone, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto here, so very nice to see that. Google Maps built in and Google Assistant, so that will do a lot for you. You also have your multiple camera views, including that overhead view, your front and rear cameras. Like I said earlier, with your front camera, you don't have the front camera washer, but I don't know that that many people are that concerned about that. Some people might say, yeah, that actually works out really well for me on my GMC truck, so I would like to have it on my Yukon. So can see what all is there. A very nice, clear picture, really showing that off nicely on this bright Louisiana day. And let's go in here real fast. There's a lot going on here. So depending on what you want to see, well, there you go. You can see what's there. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. But what I did want to do is come in here and show you some of your safety features. We have alert type. You can change that. Automatic emergency braking, front pedestrian braking, adaptive cruise notifier or go notifier, lane change alert, park assist, tow bar, and then our rear cross traffic alert and rear pedestrian alert. But when we go back here, I do want to come over here to this area right here, power assist steps, because I told you about what we could do here. You can set them to automatic, or you can turn them off if you wanted to. And if you go right here, if you go to deploy, that is how you're going to make them stay deployed. Pretty easy to figure out, but in case you were wondering how to do that, there is the answer. And we'll have our controls right here for the radio. You can change the volume and turn the radio on and off right here and surf through your stations there, or with the controls right here, left or right, depending on which direction you want to go. Dual zone climate control, we have 3 zones, the third in the rear obviously, and nice to see ventilated seats. You also have the heated seat options right there as well. And let me move my bottle of water out of the drink holder right there. If you wanted to, you can conceal everything away. That makes everything nice and easy to deal with, just gives it a nice clean look. But if you need to get to your wireless charging pad, there it is. You will find a 12-volt power outlet and USB options. And if you need a second wireless charging pad, it can go right here. Now, it is not from the factory. You'll have to buy that aftermarket, but not a big deal, easy to deal with. And plenty of room within the center console. Definitely no room lacking there. We also have our glove box over here. Let's take a quick look inside of the glove box. Plenty of space in there. And your upper console, which I gave you a little bit of a look at earlier. You can see what all is there as far as your different features and functionality go. And a bonus for those of you who stuck around to this point in the video, what is the sticker price? It's $87,565. Okay, here we go on our test drive, and I want you to listen. The railroad tracks that I just drove over really give a very good test as to the ride quality and the exterior noise, the road noise ultimately, that comes into this Yukon. You notice you really didn't hear much, and the only bad thing about doing that is that you really have to go off what my lapel mic is picking up, but I can tell you that it's not bad. So hopefully that does some justice for those who are wanting to know about road noise. Plus, it's dead quiet in here. I don't have the radio on, I don't have the fan speed for the air conditioner turned up very high, so that I don't make it harder for you to hear during the video. And one thing I forgot to mention earlier, if you were wondering about driving modes, you're gonna find normal, sport, snow and ice, and your tow haul mode in case you want to haul your tows. A very comfortable ride quality and very comfortable interior. Find just tons of space in all 3 rows. Obviously the 3rd row is going to offer the least amount of space, but I would not refer to it as cramped back there. There are a lot of SUVs out there, maybe not full size, definitely a lot of mid-size SUVs that do not offer a lot of space in the 3rd row. Here, no problem. I think everybody will be very comfortable, and as I showed you earlier in the video, well, it's not that difficult to adjust for that and still have the middle row passengers have leg room. They can move their seats up. Obviously, acceleration is phenomenal here. With all the horsepower that's under the hood, not a problem. And yeah, it's a large SUV, but once you get used to it, if you're coming from maybe a mid-size 3-row and you're saying, you know, our family's just grown too much, kids are growing, they're too big for a mid-size, let's step up to a full-size. How hard will it be to adjust to driving that Yukon XL? Not a big deal. And don't forget, you've got all the different features on here that let you know what's going on around you. The cameras where you can see everything in real time. It just makes it so easy. A very well-rounded vehicle. Tell me what you would like to see. It looks like we're going to see some changes in 2025. Maybe not a full redesign, but definitely a refresh for these Yukons. Tell me what you're hoping for, what you wish had been here that maybe will be there in the future. The only thing I can say that might be a deterrent to some people is they're likely to be a little more expensive, but we'll just have to see what happens when GMC officially gives that information out. So tell me what you think down in the comments section. Is the 2024 GMC Yukon Denali the ultimate full-size SUV? Tell me what your thoughts are. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends at Mike Morgan Buick GMC in Shreveport, Louisiana for loaning me this model for the day, and a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. That way you don't miss any future videos. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.